Hello and welcome back to the channel, and we find the characters about to go into a conference with Kaela Kaela Silverheart. It's not Kaelina, it's Kaela Silverheart, the level 8 magic user and servant of Seaward. Now our objective in this interaction is to get an identification of the potion of longevity, and for our characters this will allow them to understand what they're dealing with, and then they can make a decision whether they want to keep it or sell it. Now they are aware that there will be some form of fee that Kyla is looking for, so it's really just dependent on how this negotiation goes. And I think actually I think we can have just a bit of exploration of what Kyla is like, and see whether we can actually tease out any other kind of solo role-playing opportunities with this interaction. So we might actually develop some of the other personality traits on the tables that they have for NPCs. And I'm thinking particular ones that we might do are the age one, the alignment, and any others that maybe just we think are pertinent to the situation. So we have already established a reasonable relationship with Perifold, who is Kaela's apprentice. He is a first level magic user himself. He's originally from the north, a Northman. He's changed his name from Osrier to Perifold to blend in with the local population. He is a loquacious and courteous individual. So he is quite, I think he'd be quite an effective servant for Kaela. Now it really depends on what her personality is like to see what the relationship and the dynamic. So that is probably what we can do once we have the characters introduced to her. So I think last video Perifold mentioned 2 o'clock as being the time of the meeting. So we have a meeting at 2. With Kyla, and I think this is worthy of a new page. So let's devote a whole page to that interaction. So we had 2 o'clock, Kyla. So we're taken in through the antechamber into a large room covered in books and tables, and there's chairs all over the place, and there's it's a bit of a mess really. A lot of kind of strange equipment and things that we don't quite understand what it looks like. Lindris, who is a trained magic user, is immediately familiar with this, and he starts explaining a few of the things, and then out of one of the corridors to the side comes Kaela. And before we introduce her, I think we need to establish just basically our overall demeanor and maybe her appearance, and just so that we can, in our mind's eye, envisage what she is like. So the first thing we need to do, like any good NPC, is establish her tendencies and her personality. So we'll do that first. And we will consult our tome, 100 to 101. Now, I don't mind going to town a wee bit on Kyla, because she strikes me as being quite an interesting individual for us to interact with. And there is a mechanic that I am going to talk about later on, either in this video or the next, where I have another dimension to some of the NPCs, and it's almost like if they have some kind of fault or quirk in their personality that it would be very difficult for us as solo role players to represent. And I quite like the challenge of saying, well, what would happen if, say, Kyla had an underhand motivation and she was motivated by some other cause. Either she had her own personal agenda or there was some dark force working behind her. It's that kind of thing. It's going to be used very sparingly, and it'll be only for certain things. And I'm thinking I'll use my in-churn mechanic to generate an event which says, in your next NPC generation, perform a check for this. I think I'm going to call it my corruption index or malevolence level or something. But I'll fully explain it, when it comes to that. But that's kind of my thinking on this just now. So let's find out what her general tendencies are, and we'll do the D12 and the D6. Let's make sure. I think when I was looking at my video today it was a wee bit out of shot, so I'll just make sure it's in camera. That is going to be an 18. So an 18 says no way, foul and barbaric. Why does this always? This is what you call a challenge, isn't it? Foul and barbaric. Now, is it right? Okay, I am going to write. We will rise to this challenge, and remember what it said about slash things, because we've been so familiar with this. General tendencies are given to guide and direct the general generation of the following traits in the operation of the NPC in actual play. Conflicting traits should be disregarded unless the NPC is insane. Okay, so we've got that fallback. The actual Dungeon Master Guide states in black and white that we have a get out clause. However, let's see if we can run with this. Some tendencies have two listings separated by a slash. The DM should either immediately select one in the case of a predetermined NPC, that's not this case, or list both and select one which better suits the NPC when the balance of the other traits are determined. Okay, let's have this on the back boiler for now. So we'll have foul and barbaric. And that's come up 3 times on 3 NPCs. We've had Baldur, we've had Rumix, the 120-year-old sage, and now we've got Kaela, the 8th level magic user. Now, foul and barbaric, you could almost say she's some hideous crone and hag or witch. But this, I don't think that fits in with the setting. So let's just get away from that stereotype and keep an open mind about this. Foul and barbaric could mean other things. So we just got to think of other synonyms that come to mind. Okay, personality. This could be the shaping thing. So we'd have to do a D8 and a D8. So the dice aren't really giving us much help just now. So we have a 1. So she is average. And we have an 8. Abrasive. Okay. This looks like a really unpleasant character just now. I think you would agree. Okay, I think we have a platform now to explore some other aspects. Now, before I go any further, let me just go through the checklist that we have to do for any NPC. And we've already done the gender check. Let's do the race check and see whether there is any chance that she is of a demi-human type. So we get a 10% chance on any NPC. Now, she's not an adventurer party, and she's not currently an adventurer. So I would say there's just a 10% chance. And also remember the track record of Seaward and the fact that he has to be quite sensitive to Jasper. Maybe he doesn't want an elf or a half-elf enchantress in his retinue. So he's being quite sensitive about this. So he said humans only, I'm not being a racist, Lord, but for Jasper's sake, I think we have to keep it um, to humans. But let's find out if there is a chance anyhow. And we get, oh, we do. We get a 5. Wow. What are the chances? Well, 10%, isn't it? So, in that case, what we need to do, and we'll take the shortcut because we'll get our player's handbook, and we know that she's a magic user. We're not going to go for multi-class here. I'll just make a ruling on that. I want a pure magic user. So it will be, there won't be any of this fancy fighter, cleric, magic user types. This will be a pure magic user, and that's what Seaward wanted as part of his retinue. But we do have a non-human. So in that case, let's see what races we can have that are non-human. They can be magic users. So we can't have dwarves, we can have elves, we can't have a gnome, we can have a half-elf, we can't have a halfling, we can't have a half-orc, and we have an unlimited human. And the half-elf can only go up to 8, and the elf can only go up to 11. So, I think, let's think of this from Siwa's point of view, and this is his retinue, and he would stock it, or not stock it, that's a rather blunt term. He would populate his retinue with the individuals that he would choose based on his personal preferences. And based on what we know about his relationship with Jasper, and the fact that he had an elf female in the party before, and it didn't end too well for Jasper, and Jasper's with him, I think the chances of it being an elf is very low. However, there is always a very remote chance that this represents the original elf enchantress who went off to Alfheim. However, I think that is a slim chance, and I think we should maybe rule that out. I think maybe we do have to represent it, but I think it's very, very, very low. So that is maybe a possibility. Half elf only goes up to 8th. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong line. Magic user, 8, yes, 8. And 7. Half elf and magic users with intelligence of less than 17 are limited to the 6th level. Those with intelligence of 17 are limited. So it doesn't look too great for half elf. Anyhow, so you would have to be on a cracking intelligence to get up to 8th level, and that's your cutoff. So I don't think Seaward would want to limit himself. So that's saying that we have an elf ruled out for on compassionate grounds. He's going to rule out an elf, not on any racial prejudice, but on compassionate grounds for Jasper. A half elf because of the limitations on level and the fact that he can't develop a powerful magic user beyond 8th level, but he does have a human. I'm going to say on the off chance that we might have, now the more I think about it and the more that we've developed the story about Jasper, I'm going against it. So I think we've almost convinced ourselves to come back round to the human, and that is the default. So I don't think that actually needs a roll. We've done that 10% thing. We've gone around the houses to see what the rationale is. We've actually talked our way through something. We've discounted the elf because of the previous relationship with Jasper, and it's very unlikely that the original elf has come back because that would be so disruptive. And the half-elf is limited career prospects, and that doesn't align with Seaward and his motivation. So by default, we've got human. So let's keep human, and I will put that boldly here. Okay, that took a bit of time to resolve, but it was an interesting thought experiment, really, wasn't it? No, but that still leaves us with a very unpleasant human just now. Okay. Appearance. Now, I was thinking about appearance, and what appearance does. Age, the age one, determines what age you are. Now, if we actually go to age for player characters. Here we go. Now the human, and for a magic user, the age that she would have started at level 1 would have been, oh sorry, down here, 24 plus 2 die 8. So say the average, say when she started was, in fact we can actually almost start, generate it here. So let's see what age she was when she started. She was 24 plus 2 die 8. Now I know this sounds like I'm really going into a lot of detail here, but I think this is quite important, because this potion that we're talking about might have a pertinent impact on her appraisal of it, if you get to think about it. So we have a 5 and an 8. That's a 13. So a 13 plus, and what was the original? It was 24. She started off at 37. And 37 in human terms is mature. So she's 1 year less than Adelind when she started. Now, if we assume that it takes probably at least, maybe at the start, the level advancements like one a year, on average. But then once you get it past 3, it goes up to, you can double it. And then when you go up beyond 6, you triple it. That would create, let's just work that out. That would be 3 years to get up to level 3. And then a further, what's it, 6, 9, sorry, that's 1, 2, 3, 3 times 2, another 6 to get up to level 6. And then we've got further 2 levels, times 3, 2 times 3 is 6, 6 to get up to level 8. So in total, that places her at 37 plus 3 plus 6 plus 6. She's 52 now, okay? So on average, if she'd made a kind of, this is just us making assumptions, 52, she is now middle-aged. Okay, so we'd be expecting to see a middle-aged human, female, that's foul and barbaric and abrasive. So she's maybe, and I think, so what other pertinent things do we need to do? Let's go back to our NPC tables, and we'll roll the appearance age table, just to see what age she actually appears to us. That's what she should be, 52. Now this is what she actually, so you might be getting the idea of where I'm going here, what I'm thinking about. If there is a big distortion on, say she looks far more youthful than her game appearance, game age, there could be something going on here to do with longevity potions, but that's just a hunch, that we don't know here. So we have to roll a d10, I think. Yes, d10. And we'll ignore anything that goes beyond a certain expectation. So we have a 3. So what's the 3? Youthful. She appears youthful. So we've got age. Actual. 52. Appearance. Appears youthful. And youthful, according to our, let's see, young would be, youthful is probably, we go youthful, mature, middle-aged, old. So according to our player character things, we have youth, young adult, mature, young, mature. So she probably looks like a young adult. So she could maybe look about 20, say. She doesn't look mature, does she? Because she should look middle-aged. But she actually looks, yeah, she probably looks about 20. What does that mean? Is this some kind of sorcery going on here? Who knows? And maybe the tendency, the foul and barbaric, is something to do with her nature inside that's hidden. It's getting a bit more creepy and strange now. Okay, let's go on with this line of inquiry and see what else. We need some confirmation bias here. Let's have a look at her alignment. And we will roll a d10. Now, as we've said on numerous occasions, the prevailing alignment is lawful neutral to lawful good in this particular region in the Northern Marches, and also in the kingdom of whatever. We haven't actually come up with the name of the kingdom. We just call it the kingdom, and that would probably be something I'm going to develop in the next few. A nice name. Like I always thought Arden was quite a nice name. That represents England in a kind of old days, medieval terms. But let's see what this alignment, just a straight roll, does for alignment. So we have a d10, we have a 9. So she is neutral. So that's okay. I think we can have that. Alignment is neutral. And I think the final thing I want to do, and I do promise that I'm not going to do any more, I'm not going to roll up all our stats and whatever, but I think charisma is an important factor here, because this could, maybe she is some mysterious kind of enchantress that has done something to her game age, 52, and made her look 20. Because you've seen it on the dice. That's what she has somehow lost 32 years or thereabouts. Say, if we were being generous, maybe, and she's made a dramatic escalation up to 8th level, which she could have done. She could have done it in 10 years. She might be only about 40. She may be, well, that would be, no, sorry, 8 years. She would be 45. So again, she's lost 25 years on a very generous kind of thing. So we're talking maybe a 30-year drop, appearance-wise. So let's roll her charisma, and we do it the standard way that we do for all NPCs. We roll 4 dice and take the best 3. Wow. 17. Okay, so foul and barbaric, I think that has to be internalized slightly. So maybe let's ditch the foul and stick to the barbaric. And in terms of barbaric, maybe she's got some very not crude, but she's got some she's very kind of a very harsh and brutal outlook to life. So in terms of barbaric here, let's say she's got a brutal outlook, but she comes across as being quite crass sometimes. Yeah, crass, I like that. And a bit boorish. So, for all her amazing charisma, maybe she's got terrific good looks, and she's very eloquent, and she just gives off emanates this aura that people are in almost enchanted by. She has these, as soon as she opens her mouth, it's a bit kind of, it doesn't really kind of match the image, but she uses her magnetism to overcome that. So I would say that maybe she, her own internal personality, she's abrasive, and she's a bit crass the way she talks. Okay, so there we have Kaela. It's only taken us what 20 minutes to do, but we have I would say that's there's something going on there. We're not quite sure. It's going to be an interesting negotiation. So I feel that the characters are being led into the lion's den here. Okay, so barbaric and abrasive, I would say these are minors. So we're going to have on the reaction, we're going to have on the tendency, we're going to have -1 to 8, and on the personality, we're going to have -1 to 8. Because these are negative. You know, if you're dealing with an abrasive character and you're dealing with a crass character, they're difficult people to negotiate with. I think we need to do the introductions. So in sweeps this this kind of vision of, you know, it's basically the characters are quite in awe of what they see. They see this she must be beautiful because she has a charisma of 17. She's emitting like a kind of aura. She looks powerful. She looks every inch and level 8 enchantress. And she speaks when she says what do you want with my time? And it doesn't quite match maybe the way she talks to her looks, but we were so mesmerized by her that we kind of say we come with this parchment from Jasper. He has given us leave to ask you for an audience, O Kaela Silverheart. Can we speak to you about this item that we carry on our personage? And she says, okay, well, why don't you show me this item? And I suppose you want me to form some form of appraisal on this? And they said, yes, ideally we would. So I think what we need to do now is just basically a reaction test and put in the modifiers and see how we get on. On alignment, we're going to have 0 because she's neutral. On Dagobert, we're going to have +5%. On, let's find out where she's from. We'll do a D4. Do our background. She's 2, so she's from the kingdom. Origin. Kingdom. So that's a +10, so that would be, that's race +10%. On the alignment, we said 0, reaction, race, any pertinent factors, maybe, and the fact that Perryfold has been so insistent on this that she sees them, and the fact that Jasper's given, she's looked at the parchment briefly. She's kind of glanced over it, kind of in a quick way. She is coming around to the idea that this might be in her interest to have this actual interaction with them. So I would say the pertinent factor is probably a +10%. And I don't really think I've got any others that I can put in. So let's generate the minuses on just based on what our character's like. So it's 4 and 4. So -4, -4, that's -8. We have 25, -8 is 17. 17%, +17%. So I think the characters will be praying to Bane for not to be vaporized on the spot by this magnificent visage, this powerful enchantress, who's probably the most powerful thing they've ever seen. Because you know, they've seen Jasper and he is an impressive individual, but my goodness, she must be right up there on the scale. you know, obviously I haven't seen Seaward, and he's probably, you know, it just emanates magnetism, but she's probably like a female equivalent of Seaward just now. So we will roll percentage test to find out what the reaction is. So we get a 40. 40 plus 17 is 57. And that just makes us into uncertain, but 55% prone towards positive. So let's roll that. So we have a 61. So we're kind of neutral. Now this is where I brought in my interaction mechanic. But first I just want to do what she does. She says, okay, I will appraise this item. So she says, can you hand me over this flask? And the Dagobert gingerly hands it to her. And she looks at it, and she lifts it up. She looks at the color. She said, okay, I want to just perform some tests on it just now. So she maybe just takes a little damp cloth and puts a bit on some paper. She has another bit of paper that she puts on top. She looks at the color on the paper. She doesn't really need to do very much more than check the overall viscosity of the liquid, its color, and you can see a dawn of realization across her eyes as she realizes exactly what this is. And she says, yes, I understand what this potion is. I can reveal to you that this is a potion of longevity. And I have to warn you that there are some side effects. And if you've been taking this potion regularly, there is always a chance that it will reverse the beneficial progress of the potion. Now, the potion is designed to give you 1 to 12 years of your age. And if you take too many of these potions, it could have the reverse effect and negate all the things that have been taken off and produce a rapid aging result. So the characters are a bit kind of, ooh, well, that sounds really bad. But thank you very much, Kaela. This is exactly the information we wanted. We had a feeling that we didn't really want to keep this potion, and we wanted to sell it. And she said, oh, are you interested in selling this? And they said, well, yes, we were thinking of, we've already had some trades with Thudibert in his emporium, and we are quite keen to maybe consider the transaction. Have you any idea, Kyla, how much this thing would be worth as part of your service to us in the appraisal? And she said, of course, I can tell you what I think the ballpark is in the amount that this is worth. So we look up, well, she doesn't actually look up the Dungeon Master's Guide, but we as solo role players look up the Dungeon Master's Guide and try and check out how much this thing is. And I think from memory, here we go. So what was it? Longevity. 500 experience points value if we keep it, and 1,000 gold pieces sale value. Okay, so the sale value is 1,000 gold pieces. However, the mechanic that I'm going to do is to say that the appraisal fee is 1 to 10%, and there are modifiers that if you get a negative, it's a minus, it's a plus 2% to the cost to a maximum of 10. So a negative is plus 2% and it maxes at 10. And if you get a positive, it's minus 2% to a minimum of 1. And if it's neutral, which we've got, there's no modifier. So we'll have a 1 to 10% appraisal fee on it. So it's 2%. So that's only 20 gold pieces it's going to cost us for the appraisal, which is a trifling sum. And she says, okay, well, are you going to take it to, this is my service and this is what it costs to have this appraised. Are you going to take this to Thuderbert's Emporium and have it sold? And they say, well, we haven't really quite decided yet. I think what we'd like to do is just take it back to the Green Dragon Inn where we're staying, and kind of have a think about it. We've got the number of treasures that we have, and they feel, the actual characters feel that they are giving away a lot of information. They are kind of drawn into her charisma and the ways that she is able to. She's been quite manipulative. The feeling is. Maybe they're not noticing it. Probably the only one that is maybe feeling a bit uncomfortable about the situation is Lindris. And because he is a fellow magic user to her, and he also sees that there might be something going on. It doesn't seem to quite marry up the fact that she looks so young and beautiful, and she's so experienced, and he doesn't quite understand that. So Lindris says to Dagbert, okay, thank you very much, Kyla. We have enjoyed your hospitality. However, we don't feel we want to press it any further. We can take this potion away and we can consider it. You have performed a very fine service for us. Thank you very much, and it has been a pleasure meeting you. And he tries to close down the negotiation and almost like retreat out of the room. And then the rest of the characters, the question is, do they get the hint? So I am going to do a quick roll on their wisdom to see whether they have the intuition to follow Lindris's lead on this. Now, if you look at their actual stats, Lindris has got a very high intelligence and he's got a very good wisdom too. So he has picked up, his elf senses have just picked up, there's a mismatch here. Yeah, he knows enough about human beings that he thinks, this has taken a while to get to that level. And she also looks younger than what she is supposed to be at a starting level. So yeah, come on, guys. Do you not see this internally? He's not externalizing this. So I would say that Dagobert and Tristan, if either one of them, they will have a critical mass to say, let's get out of this situation and just go away and reflect on this. So let's do Dagobert first, and we have to roll a 13 or less to get the fact that the penny drops and he decides yes, so he does. And then Tristan, let's see if we get a full house. Tristan, yes, so they both, all three of them have actually got enough, they're streetwise enough to realize, I think we need to conclude on this transaction, and it's been lovely meeting you, but I think we really have to go type thing. We've got another appointment. We've found a sword. we need to have a little bit of a discussion about it, and we don't want Kaela to say, oh yeah, I've got a sword as well. I'll be interested in seeing that too. No, it's fine, honestly. So they try to make an escape. Kaela just she's almost got other things on her mind. She's a very powerful woman. She's got plenty of other things on the go. But I think what we have there is something worth maybe having a think about. And I can't quite think about all the things about it just now. And I think this is one of these instances where you just have to reflect on the situation and sleep on it type style. But my goodness, what an interesting character we have there. The only thing that seems to kick against it is the personality. But if these are internalized, the fact that she's crass and abrasive, but she's got this whopping charisma. That probably overcomes anything she's saying. She's just got this magnetism about her. So, that was Kyla. So, that was quite an episode. So the characters withdraw out the chamber. They go into the anteroom. They have quiet chat with Perryfold. They say, "Well, thank you very much, Perryfold, for letting us have this this consultation with Kaela. This has taken maybe about half an hour. It's not taken very long because she's done a very quick analysis and it's been a very quick conclusion. So 22:30. He says, right, if you're looking for Torvin Forgemaster, he is down the corridor. Take the first right and you'll come to his forge." So we pop down the corridor. The guard, by the way, has been waiting very patiently with us. He hasn't really been saying anything. Guard A, he's not even turned into Guard B yet. He's still Guard A. He says, "Are you ready to go? Right, I will escort you down to Torvin. He is down here." So we have our meeting with Torvin. So after all that time, we have got we've concluded on what our potion is. Like we knew about it all the time, but the characters. The important thing is the characters know about it, and they've also discovered something interesting going on in Seaward's keep. Now maybe Seaward is completely comfortable because he is a wily lord and operator, and he would not take on individuals in his retinue, trusted individuals, without having a full appreciation of all their characteristics. So he must be comfortable with whatever Kyla has as a secret. And she must have some kind of secret where we just don't quite know. She just doesn't quite... and he is probably of a strong enough will and personality that he can resist. His charisma is probably 18 himself, because he is a Lord Protector, remember. So, let's not get any notions in our head that Kyla is some power behind the throne. But again, let's keep our minds open. There might be something else going on. Right, hopefully Torvin is not such a difficult case to manage. So, we go down the corridor, we come into, it's very, very hot, the forge room. There's a fire going on, obviously, in the forge. This big burly chap is beating away on a sword. He's doing your classic AD&D blacksmith kind of role, but he is a skilled weaponsmith. He's a pure craftsman. There's another couple of individuals helping him. They're doing things with their jugs of water and making sure that with the bellows, making sure that the furnace is, the forge is of sufficient heat, and it's all very busy and noisy and just exactly the way you would probably picture some fantasy forge. And he shouts over, he says, "What are you doing in my forge? Why do you enter at such a time in the afternoon?" And we go over to him and we stride over in a confident style. We've regained our courage after our rather shambolic exit from Kyla. We say, we have come with the patronage of Jasper Silent Walker to speak with you about this sword. And we present him with this amazing, it is an amazing, impressive looking broadsword. It's beautifully decorated. It's got lovely sharp edges. There's very intricate rune work on it. It's an absolutely outstanding piece of swordsmithing. And he goes, "Oh, this is a very nice weapon that you're presenting me with. Do you know its name?" And they say, "Torvin, we have heard that you are a wonderful weaponsmith. You can perform some form of ceremony on this to divine its true nature, its name, and its background. And he says, you are right. I'm a modest man, so I will not admit the fact that I am a fantastic weaponsmith. But if you insist on saying that, that is your prerogative. However, I am capable of performing the ceremony of the sword, which means that I can utilize certain coals in my forge and heat them to a certain temperature, and I can discern the runes by reading over in a thaumaturgistic way the inscriptions, and it will seep into my mind what its name, its history, and its purpose is on this earth. And they go, wow, that's a very that is an amazing service, and it's probably going to be worth all the appraisal fee that we're going to have to muster up for it. And he says, it's okay. My fee is based on effort involved, because this is going to take some time. And if I'm not too successful with the ceremony, it could take longer, because there is an option that if I can't decipher it based on my forge methods, I have to adopt an alternative strategy, which sometimes could require the use of moonlight. And there's only certain moons that I can use to assist me in this prospect. So I might have to keep the weapon based on how well we perform this ceremony. So they say, that is terrific. But I was going to say, maybe they ask, tell us a bit about yourself. So we do our classic tendency and personality, because we've really got to do it for Torvin, because he sounds like quite an engrossing individual. The Forgemaster, he's quite an impressive character. He's very well built. He's probably 6'5". He's very broad-shouldered, tan skin, large hair, great moustache, beard. He really looks the absolute business for smithing weapons. Let's see whether his general tendencies match up to his demeanor. So we'll do our D12 and our D6. Let's see what we get. That is a 19. Cruel and callous. Great. Cruel. Well, he could be a really tough, really brutal forgemaster on his employees. Those other two guys, they could be like shriveled up versions of great big brawny men after his cruel and callous regime. But I think we're maybe jumping the gun on this. Let's see what his personality is. We really have hit rock bottom with Kyla, and now Torvin seems to be heading down that path too. So let's see what he's got. He's got a 7. He's extroverted. Okay, so he is an 8. Diplomatic. Okay. So maybe he is the type that he is a cruel person. These people do exist. Or callous. Callous maybe he's uncaring. That's probably better, isn't it? For a weaponsmith, he's a callous man. He's got no compassion. He doesn't like weakness. He just believes in strength, and the sword, all the things that he is forging in his forge embody his view of life. It's all about a ruthless use of force all the time. So his callous nature is it's given life through his craft, and that's why he has adopted a weaponsmith role. However, he has been very skillful in almost not disguising his nature, but making it almost acceptable to society at large. So he has gained a lot of respect through his skillful use of explanation and just being in the right place in the right time. And he has moved up quickly in Seward's retinue as his weaponsmith of choice, his Forgemaster, and that's how he's got this title. So that's his background. I would say that that's all we need to do, apart from let's do his background. I suppose we've got to do the inevitable thing of race. I'm hoping this is confirmation bias, because I don't think I could handle having another demi-human and then have to have that great big circular logic thing. But let's just do it. Yes, it says us. So we are human. Hooray, we're human, and we're male. We knew we were male. What else we got? I think that's about it. So I think we're ready to do the ceremony. So he takes the sword off us, and he says, right, as I've already given you an appraisal, I have to perform this ceremony. I need to divine the blade. That's what it's called. So he fires up the forge to a very high temperature. He gets his 2 servants to do that. The bellows are going. He puts on some strange shaped coals of almost an obsidian type coal. It looks very I was going to say expensive. It looks very alien to what a normal coal would look like. This looks as though it's almost got mystical properties, and he places that at certain points in his forge. The bellows are going, they're all heating up, the temperature's getting higher and higher. He is starting to do a slow chant as he heats the blade over the coals. As he chants, and the characters are completely absorbed in this. They're all standing around and they're thinking, wow, this is amazing. The runes on the sword start to light up. And he's saying, right, it is revealing its secrets. So now we're in a position where we can do a percentage roll based on reaction to see what the result is. So this is us using the reaction table, almost as if it's like we're performing the ceremony. And how well this happens will determine the outcome of the divination. So, pertinent factors. Now, if we were doing a straight reaction, I would say callous and diplomatic are offsetting. So, I think for this particular operation, we've not really got a skill element in here, apart from something I'm going to put in as the special factor. So I would say that they offset each other, and let's ignore it. The reaction thing from Dagobert would only be able to influence this if he kind of encourages Torvin, and Torvin doesn't need encouragement. So I'd say the reaction thing is the racial thing. It doesn't make much sense either. He is. In fact, we haven't actually decided what he is. Let's do a 1 to 4, just to see where he's from. Yeah, he's from the Kingdom too. So the racial thing's not going to happen. However, I think the special factor, the fact that he's such a skilled weaponsmith, and he's got such a focus, this callous kind of viewpoint, very ruthless view on things that's made him into such a skilled weaponsmith. I think that's worth a good plus 10%. So let's do a plus 10% to this roll. There's no other modifiers. It's going to be this to see how well it goes. So we have 30 plus 10 is a 40. So uncertain, but 55% prone to negative. So let's see if it's negative. That's an 18. It is negative. Okay, so we've had a negative outcome. So I'm just going to consult my notes to see what a negative outcome means. Yeah, that's going to be to modify the price. Yeah, so the price of the appraisal is still going to be a successful, it's going to happen. Yeah. The appraisal fee is 1 to 10%, and we're going to add 2% to this. So it's actually going to be 9% appraisal. 9%. And I don't think I had any. Yeah, I think the only way I was going to have a failure was if it was, see if we look at the reaction score. Let's look at that table again, just to show you what my logic was in this and how it's slightly different to any of the other interactions. And this has been the beauty of this table. We can use it for all sorts of things. If I got, I think I was going to get, if it was 25% or less, I was going to say that we had actually failed in our ceremony. It had not revealed all the secrets of the item, and we would have to perform some additional ceremonies. And that's where he was talking about the moonlight, that we would have to actually wait for 1d10 days for the right evening to take the sword out into the moonlight and use the rune. Use the moonlight to assist us in the divination of the blade. However, we have been able to do the ceremony, and Torvin smiles at us, and he says, "I can reveal the information about this blade. The runes have told me that it was originally the possession of a hero called Arnhelm. The name of the weapon is the Dark Slayer, and in the old tongue, it is called Hundlef." And they all go, "Whoa, that's amazing! You know, how can you tell this from?" And he says, "This is all to do with my training, so you don't have to worry about that. This is what the runes have told me, and I have done this ceremony many times. The only other thing we have to do is determine the alignment of the sword, because I think that's quite an interesting dimension so whoever was the owner of the sword determines the alignment of the blade that he was given. So this is where we just do a straight roll, and we just pray that we don't get anything horrible as the result. So we have a 1d10 for alignment. So we have a 6. Chaotic neutral. Okay, so we have a chaotic neutral. Chaotic neutral. So to recap, he said what's happened is that Callistra has won this from this chaotic neutral hero called Arnhelm in a titanic battle, and she gained this sword after the battle was over. Scouring the battlefield, she found the blade and took it back to her catacombs. Now, the fact that it was a chaotic neutral blade, the feeling was that no one really wanted to use it in battle, so they locked it up in the palace, in one of their chambers, and thereafter, the cataclysm, everything was lost. Now, the actual fact that it has an alignment, now the way I'm thinking that actually impacts the game is that if it's the same alignment as the say it was Lindris that had got it, and his alignment for sake of argument, well, it's not sake of argument, this is what his alignment is. Lindris's alignment is, he's chaotic good. So say it was chaotic good. It would almost like putting on a pair of gloves that, you know, it fits like a glove. It's perfect. It would have a fantastic feel to him. It would almost feel it was part of himself. If it was a different alignment that was favored out by one, it would just feel like a very fine sword. It would have no problems at all. But say it was an opposite or an alignment which deviated strongly from him, he could still use the blade, but there was a good chance that it would have a negative influences that you might be able to capriciously interject into the game at certain points. So the fact that it's chaotic neutral, your Lindris could probably use that blade without any real trouble. It wouldn't feel alien in his hands, but then it wouldn't feel as comfortable as if it was chaotic good. But someone like even Tristan, he's neutral good. So again, he's only separated by the fact that it's chaotic. Yeah, he shares the neutral, and he's only got one alignment change. Lindris shares the chaotic, and he's different by good by one. So I would say that it's probably more a fit for Lindris as a chaotic neutral blade. So what we've done is basically define that weapon, and the only downside is that we've been hit with a very high appraisal fee. Now, looking at the Dungeon Master's Guide, I think the worth of this blade was about, I think it was quite a lot, wasn't it? It was not 4,000 gold pieces. So if we look at swords, and it was a sword plus 2 experience point value for keeping, 4,000 gold pieces sales. So say we got top dollar, and this is what Torvin's going to base his appraisal on. It's going to be 9%, so 4,000 times 9% equals a hefty 360 gold piece appraisal fee. So that's ceremony. And I would say that ceremony took all afternoon to do. So it's probably at least, say it's 6 o'clock now, because it took so long to go through that entire process of the ceremony. And the characters are exhausted. Torvin's exhausted. Everyone's exhausted. However, they've been able to extract the information. It's taken a long time to do it. Hence the fact that he's had to ratchet up the appraisal, because he's taken so much effort. And he just knows himself, this has taken me a lot of effort to do. It's probably not an alignment he's cares too much about himself. And not many people are kind of into chaotic neutral. You know, Baldur, he would love this blade. He is a chaotic, you know, maybe we should sell it to Baldur. You know, if he could scrape all the money together, he'd probably give top dollar for it. That's an option. Okay, I realise that we're getting on a bit now. So what I want to do is just not put a line under this just now, but just maybe put it on pause, and we'll obviously come back to our situation with Torvin next time. But just to say, you know, just to, maybe step back and have a think about this, and as I say, come back to it at a later stage with a fresh pair of eyes. I think overall we've had 2 quite interesting interactions. We've had an amazing NPC, Kyla, developed before our very eyes, and we've almost had to extract ourselves from maybe an awkward situation, which we've all 3 of the player characters kind of realized. It slowly dawned on them that things didn't quite add up, but they still haven't really worked it out. So maybe this is something that they need to go back to Jasper and see whether he has any ideas on this. Maybe he'll say, you know, what are you talking about? But, you know, just a logic type thing that it doesn't really kind of stack up on that score. And then we had this interesting interaction with Torvin, and going through his ceremony, and all the fact that he had to use different types of coals and say all these words. And we have this backstory, so I'll summarize that for our next one, and just with all the details of the tragic hero and how Callistra managed to salvage the blade from the battlefield. But yeah, no, I found that quite interesting. And that should conclude our transactional and interaction stages, and then we move into the next day, which will be Holy Day. We'll conclude our Green Dragon interactions tonight and see whether the characters maybe take Jasper's advice and have a bit of a lower profile. But then that's against the adventure way with all this swagger and bravado. So I think they still want to bask in their glory. Okay, well, just leaves me to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.